Hey folks, this video, it may end up being more than one, I'm sure it will be. It's going to be about using Bluebeam Revu, however you choose to say that, to do quantity takeoffs and estimating. It's like we've showed in some of the other assignments, it's a software designed for collaboration. In the design process, architects and engineers and owners can all look at the same set of drawings and do markups and clarifications and things like that. Well, once it goes to the construction process, the contractor can use it to do quantity takeoffs and prepare their estimate. And then they can also use it to document the progress of the project through as-builts and scheduling. So we are just giving you an introduction to this software. So that's all it is. I'm not teaching you how to, really work your way through it so you'll be a Bluebeam expert. Not going to happen. And we're not teaching you to become an estimator. Okay, if you remember back at the beginning of the semester, we just hit on a few of the things as to how estimates are produced. And we did it manually by looking at the drawings and reading dimensions and doing calculations. Well, with Revu, you can measure directly from the drawing and, aggregate your data. And in our case, we're going to export it to a spreadsheet. And then you can, create formulas and do manipulations and things like that. If you're working for a company that uses Bluebeam, then they will already have that process set up for you. Okay, so let's start out here. I've got Bluebeam open, and we want to do a couple of things here first. We want to change the profile because unless you've made a change, when it opens up, it's just the regular profile. Excuse me. I've got a dry throat today. So we want to click on the Revu button and go down to Profiles, and let's change to Quantity Takeoff. And that changes our tools, okay? Now, one thing I want you to do is let's go to Tools, and on Toolbars, make sure your status bar is turned on. These others should be on by default, okay? And I think that's that. Okay, so this is the status bar down here. And we want to go ahead and turn on the snap to content and snap to markup. So turn those on. Now let's open up the basement plan. And I've called mine, I just renamed it, made a copy of it and renamed it so that I'm not working with my existing file to start with. Okay. So looking around over here, you've got some different tools for different types of quantity takeoffs. So interior finishes is mostly measuring area tools and counts. Electrical is a lot of counts. Mechanical, some counts and links and things like that. One of the things your excuse me, your screen may look different than mine as far as where your menus and stuff are. So this is the measurement toolbar. It's got the little shapes and polygons with the purple grid markers, and you can move these things around by grabbing the end of it, just like an AutoCAD toolbar or a Revit toolbar. You can grab these things and move them around. It may be over on the side, it may be on this side. I just drug it up to the top. Okay, so we want to start. First thing we have to do is, because this is a PDF file, and normally it's to scale, a quarter inch equals 1 foot or whatever. But these particular drawings from our print reading book are not printed to scale. So we have to calibrate it. And even if you're working with, say, your drawing that comes right out of Revit that you've exported at scale, you want to check that scale to make sure it's correct, okay? And so we're gonna go through the calibrate process. And on your measure toolbar, if it's not, it should be showing. If not, go to Tools, Toolbar. It'd be the measure right there. Okay, so on the toolbar, the second icon is the calibrate. Okay, so that's one way to get to it. Another way is Tools, Markup, not markup, Measure, and then Set Scale. They both do the same thing. And we are going to go with if you have a preset scale that you're confident is correct, you could come here and select it. Ours is not. So we're going to go with a custom, and we're going to go calibrate. Now, let me tell you before you start into this. Okay, so yeah, you're going to pick 2 points of a known distance, and we'll say okay. Before you click your first point, you want to zoom in and read the dimension. And so I know my overall length is 62 feet. Okay, from corner of wall to corner of wall. So I'll zoom in on this corner and wait for it to finish zooming and stuff and snap to that corner and pick it. And then go to the opposite corner and pick it. And then I tell it here, 62 feet. Okay. And now you can check that by, drawing a line. So let's go with a measure tool. So we'll go length. And I'm just going to check this one right here. And that tells me it's 15 feet, which is what the dimension says, okay? Excuse me. It's always a good idea to check your vertical dimension on the sheet also. And when I was working through this earlier, it's like 1/4 of an inch difference, okay? So that's at 30 feet 4 1/4 inches. Okay, and the dimension is 30 feet 4. Well, that's not enough that it's going to affect what I'm working on, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. And once you've calibrated it, you can save your file, and that will stick to you. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save my file. Okay, so we want to do some concrete takeoff. And so when you open these toolbars, if you click on the settings button there, it's probably set to, that's the default symbols. You can go to detail and it gives you a little bit more information, okay? You're only going to have one footing. So what I did is I duplicated it twice and edited them so that I would have them already there because my footings are of different sizes. And in this case, we've only got 3 footings, so it's not that big of a deal, okay? But if you had a much larger project that have several footings of each type or different types, it becomes a big deal, okay? So we're going to make some changes here. So with the first one, it's like a 36 by 48 by 72 over here. Now, I know from looking at the footing schedule that this one is like 36 by 36 by 10 inches. So I want to come over here to my label and change it to 36 by 36 by 10. Okay, now that just changes the label. Okay, and I can leave the color as the orange. That's fine. Scale is fine. That's all good. Okay, those things are all good. Now up here in units, here's where I want to set my depth. And your default may be feet, inches. It may be inches, inches with the inch mark there, or just inch, either one works fine. So if you're doing it as foot inches, you can type in, 10 inches. If you're doing it as regular inches, you just type in 10 inches and hit enter. Okay, now then the width on these are 3 feet by 3 feet. Because what we're doing, this tool here is a count tool. And so we're counting these as opposing to measuring the volume of them. Now you could certainly use a volume tool to do that. And that would give you a volume calculation also, but we're going to get a volume calculation out of this anyway. So we're just going to use the count tool. And so then I would come down here and I would click on that one footing and right click my mouse, hit escape. Okay. So that's counted that one, and you can see down here in our markups, it's got the label and our calculations of 7.5 cubic feet, the depth of 10 inches, the width and the height, these things. So you want to check these things as you're going along to make sure that they're coming out right. So now come over here to your tool, and in your case, you want to right click on your tool and go duplicate, and that will create a duplicate of the tool. Okay, and so in this case, you duplicate it, click on it, come over here to the label, and change it to a 30 by 8. You can leave the color the same. We'll go to units, change this to 8 inches. We'll change this to 30 inches by 30 inches. And then we'll click on that one. Now, like I said previously, if this was a large project and you had multiple isolated footings, you would just go through and find all of your 36 by 36 and check on them, and then all of your 30 by 30s and check on them. And you can make them different colors so that it makes it easier to see. Okay, and so now you'll duplicate again so that you've got a third footing. And it will come in here, and this one is a 24 by 24 by 8. And so we want to change our units. And it's a 2 feet by 2 feet. Okay. And then we'll click on that footing. Okay, so if we come down here and look at our list right here, we've got the labels that we created, of course. And the page, we only have one page in this project, so it's on page 1. The area, this is the area of the top surface. Is that a little thinking right there? It's the area of the top surface, the volume calculation based on our depth that we put in here. Okay, now the totals across here don't make a lot of sense except for what you're looking for, because the total depth is irrelevant to what we're dealing with. Okay, total widths and total heights, those are irrelevant to this particular thing that we're doing. So some of the things are great and we'll use them, some are not. Okay, so that's got the strip footings. Now for the wall footings, I think the best way to deal with wall footings is just do linear measurements. Okay, and now with the wall footing tool, or a strip footing, a continuous footing. It just measures the length. Okay, you can put some units in there. We can get our depth. Let me look at my notes here. Yeah, we can put in our units, but we still have to do calculations to get our volume for it. One of the issues with some of these things is, yeah, we could do a volume calculation for our footings, but the problem is how accurate is the drawing, you know. So we could do it either way. So we're going to go ahead and go with a linear takeoff on this. And so let's come up here and go. You could do lengths, you could do poly length. Okay, I've seen it done both ways in some research I've done. And I think our length measurement is going to be our best way, because we don't want to duplicate corners, you know, of our takeoff. Just like when we're doing it by hand, you know, we don't want to count this square in the corner intersection twice. So let's just go with a length takeoff. And I'm going to leave everything red, but I'm going to turn on highlight so we can see through it. I'll leave these things red, and I'm going to go with footing 1'8", because that's our default footing width. Down in the front where we've got those 10-inch thick walls, it'll be a couple of inches thicker. So I'm going to go with that. That's going to be my label. For my units, the depth is going to be 8 inches. Okay, and you can leave this as feet inch, that's fine. You can change it to inch, that's fine. Just don't put your numerals in before you change the units there. Okay, so a depth of 8 inches. And so I'm going to start at this outside corner. And go to the outside corner here. Okay, so that came out at 63 feet, 8 inches. Okay, so now this next one, I want to start on the inside, and I'm going to go inside to inside. Okay, because I don't want to duplicate the corner. And you could try going, you know, center of, you know, if you try going to the center of the wall, you don't really have anything to snap to in the center of the wall. Okay, and so this one, I can go there to here. And then I can go here to here. Nope, that's not what I want to do, because that doesn't take into account that. All right, so you saw what I just did. I did 3 operations there, and you notice here it applied the label and the color and everything. But I stopped the command. When I start it again, I have to come back into my properties and put my label, any color changes, and my units. I have to put those in again when I start the command again. And so now this time I need to go from the outside here, and I'll come down to this one, and then I'll start with this outside, and I'll go to that one, and I'll go this outside, and then I know this little wall right here is 10 inches. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the 8-inch footing right there. Okay, or the 8-inch wall. And then I've got another section right here. And so you can do these things with, you can get a little bit of a snap coming across there. Oh, well, that one was a 10-inch wall. Or, no, it's not. It's just 10-inch offset, sorry. Okay, so I stopped my command. So I had to start my command over again. Okay, so that got me out to here. So I need to start here. And we'll go to the inside corner of here. And we'll go to the outside corner up to inside corner. Okay. And so there's all of my 1 foot 8-inch footings. And you can come down here into your markups and kind of scroll down and check, make sure the label and the depth measurement is correct on those. Okay, so I'm going to save this and stop this video and start another one.